Dude, why would we listen to the janitor? You're not AA teacher. Sit down, son. Now, or something cool do you want to know? And this is the story of Eugene Brown, a man who is about to be released from prison after 17 years spent behind bars despite his long-awaited release. He's not happy about it. On the contrary, he's overwhelmed. The anxiety of returning to a society where he has few friends and connections scares him. But one of his closest friends Eugene befriended in prison tells him, you have to live not only for yourself, but also for those who will never. This friend with whom they used to play chess with gives Eugene a handmade king piece, so Thado remember him. Take care of the king. The rest will follow, that will come with it. With these words, Eugene takes a steepest step into a new world with a determination to start a clean slate and not to make the same old. His friend asks him if he'll ever go back to the street life, but Eugene insists different now. All he wants is a chance to work and get his life back, a normal life. One of his first steps is to find an honest job, but the ex-con's been slow to be trusted and no one wants to hire him. Back home with a sense of defeat, he looks up to the figure of the king as a reminder not to give up. In addition, Eugene longs to rebuild with his daughter Catherine, but their meeting proves to be a difficult encounter, filled with anger and disappointment. Catherine bitterly informs him that his son Marco is now in a juvenile detention center, and has been caught dealing drugs, which she scornfully referred to as magic powder. This news hits Eugene with the weight of guilt and pain. That same night, Eugene walks into an old bar where he meets buddies from the past. They exchange smiles and sits down to talk. Eugene, still looking for a job, asks if he has any options. His friend offers to give him a car from his and promises to put in a good word for him on a maintenance position. Olton South High School, grateful. He's also inquiring about Perry's former partner in crime. Finds out that since his arrest, Perry has risen up and is now in control of the entire of the local illegal aliens. The next day, desperate Eugene lies on the job interview. A job interview to cover up his criminal past. Deception works. He gets hired as a janitor at the local school the same day. Perry shows up. He's happy to see Eugene, offers him help, money, a job, women, anything. Hey, guys, you're looking at a living legend, a true A warrior as few as there are, but Eugene is not. He's not the same. He's bragging that he's the man in charge of these parts and can give him a sweet life. But Eugene makes it clear that he's not going back to the past. The next day at school, the teacher's teaching a class, sits at her desk, and the students are loud, brash, and rowdy. When she notices one of the students holding something that looks like pot, she snatches it up and demands an explanation. Clifton is the most problematic of the bunch, calls the others his best and starts bullying her. He tries to intimidate her when she threatens to send him to the principal's office, but after a round of humiliation, she leaves the classroom for good. Soon the principal walks into the classroom and sees total chaos. It's not even a class at all. The students are gold digging and engaging in explicit illegal activities. She tells them to stay until a substitute comes in. The principal notices Eugene cleaning up the hallway, and the hallway hesitates, but decides to have him keep an eye on the class. Shortly thereafter, Eugene is officially named temporary as the class's temporary supervisor. The principal warns the students if they shall find out. As soon as Ash gets out, everything goes back to the way it was. Eugene is quiet at first, but when Clifton tries to pressure him, he doesn't back down. His calm and firm demeanor quickly gets the class to listen. When the principal returns, she's impressed with how he's done and offers him a permanent position as warden. Eugene accepts gladly. As time goes on, he notices the students lack direction, so he decides to teach them chess, a game that requires patient strategy and decision-making. At first, the idea is met with ridicule, especially at Clifton. One of the students, Pinnett, challenges Eugene to a game of cards. Eugene offers a deal if Pinnett wins. The students do whatever they want in class. If Eugene wins, they learn to play chess. Pinnett agrees and loses. So begins their journey into the world of chess, albeit reluctantly. On the same day after school, Clifton and his friend Tahim is sitting in the car, and Clifton now hashes a gun that his cousin gave him, talks Tahim into a robbery with the promise that it will change their lives. Tahim is scared and he's feeling anxious, especially with the way Clifton's behavior. Clifton says he's under no illusions that he doesn't have a way out of poverty, but Tahim is still his doubts. He's clearly looking at things deeper than Clifton expects despite Clifton's skepticism about chess. Eugene manages to find an approach, compares chess to his real life, explaining that being a pawn in the drug business means being a bargaining chip for a king like Perry. Eugene convinces him. Not Toto trade his life for someone who won't lift a finger. Clifton won't lift a finger for him, still doesn't believe it's possible to change, and refuses to join him. Then Eugene says bluntly, you want street life, go live it, and if you want change, chessboard and let's go. Clifton leaves, but his words hit a nerve. The other students, they decide to give chess a chance during one of Pinnett's games. Makes a bad move. Tahim remarks that it should have been played differently. Eugene notices it and suggests that Tahim play it himself, but he dismisses it as chess. It's silly and goes to Clifton's after class. Tahim, Clifton, and Peanut go home. Pinnett asks Eugene to drive him home, but they prefer to walk as long as they don't get into Eugene's car. So Eugene ends up takes Pinnett home, and on the way he shows him where Tahim lives. Eugene sees Tahim's mother, a dependent woman, unable to take care of her son, and his heart sinks. How hard it is for children in this neighborhood. Later, Eugene visits his son Mark in an institution, but the meeting turns out to be a disaster. Marco is cold and full of rage. He screams, calls for security, and refuses to let his father into his life. Crushed, Eugene returns to his quieta, lonely reality in the days that followed. Busy preparing his students for the upcoming chess tournament, feel unprepared. But Eugene insists that only by taking risks will they'll realize what they're really capable of. Tahim in particular stands out. Natural talent, but he's still tied up with Clifton and their shady dealings. Hesitant to fully commit to the game, and it's later. Clifton comes to Perry and gives her the week's proceeds. Shay completely insignificant. Perry, disappointed that what happened to Clifton's volume, makes excuses for interfering with sales. None other than Eugene, his old buddy. He says he's disrupting the process in the classroom. When Perry hears this, he starts plotting in how to screw Eugene so that he'll fail, give up, and return to the underworld, but in the role of a subordinate. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, the students continue to study chess. Eugene's losing his patience as he sees Pinnett once again making meaningless moves again. He gets annoyed, and then Tahim, tired of to listen to him, get up and say he'll play instead of Pinnett and fight with an experience. The game begins. Eugene is thrilled, delighted. Tahim's moves are astonishing, his intelligence and insight. At the end, Tahim checkmate and humiliate his opponent when hedges up. Eugene asks how he knows how he does it. He knows how, but Tahim just shrugs his shoulders and says, it's just a stupid game. The same night on the basketball court. Tahim talking to Pinnett. He shares a plan with Clifton. They're going to pull off and make a lot of money. It's all taken care of. It's a lucrative business. He asks Pin to come along. He agrees, hoping it's a way to get out of the ghetto and ease his way into a better life, while Eugene tries to inspire the students. The school principal receives an anonymous tip that has been involved in a bank robbery. Eugene is immediately fired. It's a blow to him. As he reflects on his life, he compares it to a game of chess that calculated the moves, lost too much, in frustration. He tells Pinnett that his chess lessons are cancelled. Pinnett is upset to convince that Perry is behind the denunciation. Eugene goes to him. Perry goes to him, confesses that he's the one who arranged it, but then he tries to manipulate him. He offers him money, saying it's a favor. Now Eugene can go back to his old life again, but he refuses the bribe. He's adamant that there's no going back. There's no turning back. Despite everything, Eugene finds the strength to move on. He goes back to his students and convinces Pinata to continue the class, showing him trust. He makes Pinnett president of the new chess club and gives him a wooden piece from a friend imprisoned from prison. Together they find an abandoned house to turn it into a community chess club. The building is in disrepair, but the rent is LOW. It's real. Eugene's sharing the project with Catherine, hoping to prove they're serious about making a change, and now wants to help other young guys who, like him, have lost their way. Soon Eugene, Pinnett, and a few dedicated students are hard at work to clean up an abandoned house into a full-fledged chess club. But Clifton keeps pulling Tahim backwards to convince him to get involved in another deal with illegal substances. The plan was for Peñate to stay in the the car, but he's afraid to be alone. Clifton suddenly suggests to switch places, put Tahim in the car and take Peñate with him. Tahim thinks it's risky. He doesn't trust the situation and quietly tells Pinata to be on his guard and take care of himself. But things spirals out of control. Shots are fired, and in the confusion, Pinnett is killed. Tahim runs up to him and sees him struggling to breathe. He is overcome with horror and guilt. He's the one who dragged his friend into this. He feels the loss deeply, realizing that every action has consequences, and Clifton, as usual, disappears and doesn't take responsibility. The news breaks to Hema. Soon Eugene learns of Pinnock's death. Pinnock from Tahim himself and is called to the hospital. The hospital where Tahim breaks down and sobs on his shoulder, and as if that wasn't enough, their chess club is vandalized. Someone broke in and started a riot. Most likely Clifton's men. Meanwhile, Clifton keeps trying to drag Tahim back into a life of crime. But the tragedy with Pinnock, on the contrary, only strengthens Tahim's resolve to stay off that road. Eugene's daughter supports her father. Through Theseus in these dark days, she tells him that he doesn't quit the club or blame himself for Pinata's death. Soon Tahim brings to Eugene the chess piece that Pinnock always carried with him. This gesture becomes a symbol of their shared mission and in memory of their friend, and inspired Eugene and his with the remaining students, fixes up the clubhouse, hangs up the flyers, and begins looking for new members among the local Clifton. Meanwhile continues to do the dirty deed, making money off his relationship with Perry the same way, while dealing with a difficult family situation, seriously considering violence. He wants to get even with his mom's boyfriend. Eugene gets involved. He shares his own story of how a robbery gone wrong, spent 17 years in prison, that emphasizes that violence destroys first and foremost the perpetrator. Even the school principal takes his side. Later in the kitchen, she proudly says that in her entire career, she's seen very few who really change lives for the better, and I've seen very few people in my years of seen very few people who actually change. Later, Eugene meets with his daughter. Catherine says Marco will be released soon. Eugene wants to be there for him on that day. She replies that it might be too hard for Marco. He hasn't forgiven yet. After much persuasion, she agrees. Okay, you can come with us. Soon Eugene visits Pinnock's grave and asks him to take chess seriously. Consider entering a professional tournament, but it requires the signature and his mother refuses, mocking his dreams, and decides not to give up on the day of the Tahim forges the signature in the bathroom. He doesn't want to do it, but sometimes he tells himself he can't do it any other way. The tournament, he plays brilliantly, defeating one opponent after another as Eugene is approached by a radio host who admires his work with the kids and offers him media coverage. But Eugene refuses to give up the fame to focus in supporting Tahim to reach the finals and wins. But soon the organizers discover a forged signature of a minor's participation off a minor without the official parental permission is forbidden. Is disqualified and the winner is declared a loser, a boy named Allen. A disappointed Tahim leaves the room. The radio host suggests a ruckus. Stage a public protest, saying that it's an injustice. Eugene agrees to come to the studio, but the next day in the studio, he refuses to participate, says, if we're going to learn anything, we have to accept consequences. Feeling betrayed, Tahim walks away seething with anger. Later, Eugene arrives at Tahim's house and is greeted by his mother, who demands that he stay away from her son. Eugene begs her to support her. Tahim before it's too late. He warns if you turn your back on him now, you'll regret it. At some point Eugene learns from the boys that Clifton was arrested with a group of kids. He panics that Tahim's in there, too. He's been driving around the neighborhood all day searching every possible place, but it's all for naught. Tahim never shows up anywhere, and that's the very day he promised Catherine he'd be with them when they got Mark was released. Eugene didn't keep his word. He's just coming home tonight to meet his son, but both children and Catherine and Marco look at him with disappointment. Soon Tahim comes to Eugene and tells him that he refuses to take part in Clifton's scheme, who's now in prison. He explains she applied chess principles to real life. Real life. He didn't make a reckless move. Is determined to pursue his dream and says he wants to compete in a new chess tournament, confident in his own abilities. Eugene warns him that his opponent may be much more experienced and stronger, but Tahim is not backing down. He starts practicing hard, practicing time after time, practicing moves every chance he gets so often at the chess club that now he can only be found there. Meanwhile, Clifton, now incarcerated, begins to rethink his life. He calls Pear hoping he'll help. But just as Eugene Perry had warned him not to cars about pawns, calls go unanswered. Alone, Clifton, for the first time. Clifton truly reflects on his years as a street hustler. His friends give Tahim an unexpected birthday present. For his birthday, they get his birth certificate so he can officially register for the tournament. Meanwhile, Eugene continues to mend his relationship with his children, especially Marco, sincerely apologizing for his years of absence before the tournament. Eugene takes Tahim to meet with the very same prison friend who once taught him to play chess. The mentor shares his secret strategy for defeating the reigning champion, but Tahim refuses. He wants to win fair and square based only on his own knowledge. The day of the long-awaited tournament arrives. There is excitement and tension in the hall. Him comes to the board confident and prepared. Full of determination, he plays amazingly. Each game shows his strategic thinking and the lessons he's learned with Eugene. He's confidently going round after round, surprising the audience with his tenacity and talent. In the final round, the tension reaches climaxes with the audience holding their breath as the Tahim battling the reigning national champion, a formidable opponent with a wealth of experience. Despite his heroic performance, Tahim losing defeat is hard on him. He's overcome with disappointment. He is overwhelmed by a hurricane of feelings, bitterness, sadness, but also pride in the path he's traveled. And suddenly a familiar face appears in the crowd, his mother. Standing in the corner clapping and smiles, her presence instantly lifts his spirits with joy as she informs him that it's her son and that she's proud of him for his hard work and his accomplishments. This support is very important to Time. It gives him back his motivation and self-confidence. Even though he came in second place, it's still a remarkable achievement. He knows she's earned the respect and recognition. This tournament is not just a trophy, it's a symbol of his growth and potential. Watching from the sidelines, overwhelmed with the pride of Zahim and the rest of the students, he realizes their hard work is not in vain, and the importance of the chess club becomes more and more evident before leaving. Eugene is approached by a woman. A woman asks him if Tahim has any college plans and says she wants to help if not. Eugene takes her card, and for the first time, he really starts to believe in this kid's future. The tournament winner comes up to Tahima, too. He says he hasn't felt the fear of losing all year, until he sat down to play against him, and adds, "You're the strongest I ever played against." A grateful Tahim smiles, genuinely posing for a photo with the trophy and his man to Eugene Brown. Soon we see the club come alive. You see the club come alive and flourish. More young boys coming in to learn and explore the game. Eugene's approach to use chess as a way to teach life and personal development is starting to become a reality. The parents are noticing positive changes in their children, and around the club a complete community is formed, supporting its mission as the club gains momentum. Catherine and Marco Decidito visit. They see firsthand the change in their father and the dedication he has to the youth. Their presence at the club is a huge step toward healing the family wounds. Eugene gets a second chance to be a father as time goes on. The influence of Eugene and his club grows as the end credits rolled. We learn that his initiative led to the creation of numerous chess clubs in various neighborhoods, as well as the opening of 7 new schools focused on supporting disadvantaged youth. These institutions not only teach chess but also provide essential life skills, helping young people make informed choices. Of Eugene to use chess as a tool for development continues to echoing throughout the neighborhood. The legacy he leaves through these clubs inspires countless young boys and girls, giving them hope and direction for a bright future.